on, but a joint operation by the Western Naval Command, Takoradi Air Force, and the Western Central Command of the Ghana Police Service in Takwa has resulted in the seizure of 5 excavators and the destruction of 8 pumping machines used in illegal mining activities along the Bonsa River in the Takwa Nsuyam municipality of the Western region. Meanwhile, the Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson has announced an interim plan to deploy security personnel to patrol the Bonsa River, which supplies water to Takwa Township and its surrounding communities. My colleague Rama Smith has more in the following report.
Despite government efforts to combat illegal mining, the activities continue to increase, particularly in water bodies and forest reserves. The Takwa Nsuyam municipality's sole water source, which supplies thousands of gallons to Takwa and surrounding communities, has been forced to shut down due to illegal mining operations. Several acres of farmland and cocoa farms along the Bonsa River at Bonsarire and Isuso have been destroyed in the search for gold. On Thursday, April 10, a joint security operation was conducted against illegal miners in Isuso, Bonsarire and Bonsa. The operation, involving personnel from the Western Naval Command, the Takoradi Air Force, and the Western Central Command of the Ghana Police Service, resulted in the seizure of 5 excavators, confiscation of 1 tricycle and 1 motorcycle, and the destruction of 8 giant pumping machines. The National Security Liaison Officer for the Western Region, Brigadier General Musa Waja, retired, who led the operations, assured the residents of Takwa and its adjoining communities that the security services are ready to rescue the Bonsa River from illegal miners.
In keeping with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama initiative, Blue River Initiative, the Regional Minister, Honorable Joseph Nelson, instructed RESEC, the Regional Security Council, to ensure that all illegal miners are evicted along the Bonsa River. But I want to stress that it is not going to be a 9-day wonder. It will be followed up, and I want to assure the good people of Takwa that the Bonsa River will be rescued, and there is no way we are allowed these illegal miners to operate again.
In a related development, the government's intended plan to deport foreign nationals involved in illegal mining known as Galamsey has ignited fierce debate. While some back the move, environmentalists insist that all offenders, Ghanaians and foreigners alike, must face the full force of the law to curb the devastation of the country's land and water bodies. Stakeholders are now urging authorities to enforce existing laws more decisively and adopt stronger measures to combat the Galamsey menace. Shortly, I'll be joined by Daryl Bosu, is the Deputy National Director of Arocha Ghana, one of the foremost CSOs in the environment space as we have. It's going to be joining us in a bit. We'll have a conversation on this particular issue of illegal mining and how things are playing out, especially in the Western and the Western North region as well, because we just got some information that some 9 excavators have been impounded and then also some 12 pumping machines as well destroyed in the Takwa Nsuyam area. And this was being the illegal mining taking place on the Bonsa River. This is the major source of water for the Ghana Water Company for the supply of water to the Takwa Township. That's the information that we have right now. And keep an eye on how things are playing out on it. But let's take a listen to the Minister in charge of Communications, Samuel Nate George, who also shared his thoughts about illegal mining and what has to be done in his view going forward.
The minister responsible for lands is working on it. Look, Galamsey is a crime against humanity, and we need to end it. But like I keep saying, you can't fix 8 years of mess in 8 weeks because the ministers have been at post barely about 8 weeks. But there's active work. I know that about 7 forest reserves have been reclaimed by a joint task force led from the Ministry of Defense and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. And so, yes, we must fight Galamsey. And again, I repeat, irrespective of who it is that is doing the Galamsey, I don't care their political color. Clamp down on them, deal with them. Let us use maximum force to deal with it. Those who are doing illegal mining, again, let's be very clear. There's a difference between legal small-scale mining. Those who have their concessions and are mining, I don't have a problem with them. But those mining in forest reserves and in water bodies, it's illegal. Clamp down on them.
So why are we amending instead of repealing?
I believe that the right thing will be done. And we'll continue to call for the right thing to be done. But my point is simple. Forest reserves, water bodies, there should be no mining in there. That's my personal position. We can't have a country where we are allowing people to mine in our water bodies or forest reserves. And so as far as I'm concerned, no legislation that creates room for people to mine in forest reserves or water bodies is acceptable to our people. I do not believe that Murtala's ally or whatever he's bringing to parliament is to still allow people mine in water bodies. If that's the position, I will vote against it.
Well, that's someone at George there talking earlier. So live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. And keep your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions coming in. Read out to you and to the rest of the world. And on this matter of illegal mining, this is very, very key on the minds of many. And Daryl Bosu is joining us on the telephone right now. It's the Deputy National Director of Arocha, Ghana. Mr. Bosu, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Alfred.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good evening.
It's good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. And well, we've been speaking to someone at George who in the past had made comments about illegal mining and the fact that it could be fought and dealt with within a week. He still maintains that the full force should be deployed in the fight against illegal mining. And also the fundamental question about the LI 2462 being repealed instead of being now that it's going to be reviewed. Essentially, his point of view is that the law as it stands now cannot necessarily be seen to be, or what government has decided to do cannot be seen to be a backtrack on the earlier position, because they are taking the good parts of the law and also repealing those areas that you, the CSOs, were not too happy about. Does that tick the box for you?
Alfred, thank you very much for this. I mean, this is coming to us as news. I mean, we are yet to hear them really come out and say what exactly they plan to do. But as we have maintained, what is in the public domain is that they are doing an amendment. I don't know when they started repealing the other aspects of the LI. There's not been any communication. As far as we are concerned, in Parliament now is a process to amend. We're only waiting for the 21 days, mandatory days to elapse. So I don't know when they started this process. It will be very good we get information on this. And we have not been invited to really consider any proposals to repeal the entire law, as they're saying.
He didn't mention any proposal to repeal the entire law. He said repealing the aspects of the law that you, the CSOs, had concerns with. For instance, that aspect that gave the president the power to grant licenses for mining to take place in forest reserves. That, he says, is certainly going to go. And they're going to look at other aspects of the law that could be maintained.
Well, Alfred, I think the government decision to amend Regulation 32, which is about GSBAs. We have said time and again that it's only going to save 30 forest reserves out of the 288 forest reserves in this country. And that is not enough. And so the government continuously telling us that they are taking away what the CSOs are concerned about, for us, is a betrayal of the promise that they themselves supported us to demand from the previous administration. They were with us in unison with one call saying that the LI 2462 should be repealed in its entirety. The new turnaround with them deciding to amend was not part of the discussion and was not part of any agreement with any entity, and we consider it a betrayal of the trust we had in them. So I think that we want them to come again. They need to go back to the table, because like I said before, that amendment they are doing will only save 30 forest reserves. Now, what happens to the over 250 forest reserves also in this country, which are also going to be opened up because the law, the rest of the provisions of the law allows for a lot of intrusion and a lot of exposure to the other forest reserves. So we cannot let it stand. And that is why you see CSOs really persistently asking government to go back to the table and revoke this LI rather than continue with this amendment process they have started.
See, so there's under no circumstance will the CSOs accommodate that proposal of amending this LI 246. It has to go in its entirety for a new law to be promulgated.
Exactly. I said Ghana's sustainable agenda for us to achieve sustainability in terms of securing critical ecosystems, which are also sources of essential services like water services, food security, and all of that, relies significantly on our forest ecosystems. If you have a law that exposes majority of our forest reserves to risks of mining, then that law is not worth it, and that law must go. Currently, LI 2462 is really posing significant risks to not just our present generation, but also to generations that will come after us. So there's no way anybody, any well-meaning Ghanaian should accommodate this amendment by the government. And that is why we are relentlessly going to push until the government does the right thing. They promised to revoke it. Even just recently when His Excellency was, bringing in or swearing in the lands minister, he actually charged him to and indicated their commitment to revoke LI 2462. And so we are really surprised they turn around to a minute. And that is why we are not going to let it stand. We are going to keep pushing until His Excellency does the right thing. He has said that they are listening government, and we are waiting for them to listen to this clarion call and act on behalf of the citizens, not on behalf of the party interest that is influencing this amendment as we know it.
Darryl, appreciate you for this. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Darryl Bosso is Deputy National Director of AROCHA Ghana. Also speaking on this, Murtala Mohammed is Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, has also indicated that there is a resolve by government to ensure that the concerns of the civil society are met in the fight against illegal mining with respect to this LI 2462.
I've been away, but I've had conversations with the Minister for Justice and Attorney General. So look, pursuant to the discussions we had for the repeal or the amendment of this particular act. Now, what we have also started working on, and which I will be engaging him in the days to come, is to repeal the Minerals and Mining Act of 2003, at 703. And I think that entirely taking away the mining of forest areas completely. So I think that if you have this information, you would understand the decision that was taken. And again, it is also important. It is also important to state that the argument that came up was that are we just repealing a law? I said, look, you can amend a law to take care of the mischief or for the purpose for which people were calling for the repeal of that. Assuming we repeal this and come out with another one. And I am happy that in his even assessment, he admits that there are some aspects of the law which are good. So must you just throw away the baby and the bathing water? You look at an aspect of it which indeed generated a lot of concern and debate, particularly coming from civil society organizations, which was people going to mine in forest reserved areas. And we all do know that the reason why the government did that was not for the purposes of just protecting our forest area, but to give a particular company, the authorization or the right to mine in areas for whatever reason that is known to the government. So these are some of the issues we are looking at.
So that's the Minister in charge of Environment, Science and Technology, Mohammed Murtala, there, giving us some details of what the government intends to do going forward, addressing the concerns of the society organizations with respect to the conversation on the repeal or amendment of the LI 2462 as we have it on our books. Let's go back to